Hello and welcome to another episode of the Armory, a series where I talk about, mainly, World War II, World War I weapons and video games that we love, while showing gameplay of a more recent game. Today is going to be Battlefield 5. I'm going to be playing the Sten gun, and here's a little information for you. The STEN, or Sten gun, was used by the British and its Commonwealth forces during World War II and the Korean War. The name is actually an acronym. Major Reginald V. Shepherd and Harold Turpin designed it, and it was made in the London borough of Enfield, hence the acronym. The S is in Shepherd, the T is in Turpin, and the EN comes from Enfield. This weapon is the default beginner weapon for the medic kit in Battlefield 5. It has been used in over 20 video games, mainly the big boys like Battlefield, once in Fallout, Medal of Honor, COD, multiple times in COD, and a couple Sniper Elite games, among some other titles that were one and dones. This weapon was built with the primary focus of replacing all the lost guns that were taken or just left behind at Dunkirk. And it's also was built to help the numbers of replacing all these weapons, like I said, but the Thompson was the main weapon that the British were buying and trying to use, but due to demand and eventually America's entry into the war, the Thompson's kind of in heavy demand, so the Sten gun was made to beef up those numbers from Dunkirk, like I said, but also to help replace the numbers that were not able to reach because of all the Thompsons being sold to other parties in the war, along with just being taken by US forces. This weapon weighs around 7 pounds or so, depending on where you look at it. There are 7 different variants, one of which is a silenced version, which we have seen in the campaign of Battlefield 5, along with some films. It is a blowback operated open bolt weapon. It has a 32 round, 9x19 millimeter round, box ammunition, box magazine. It is said that this was 15 shillings to make, or 3/4 of a pound to produce, essentially. It would take only 5 man hours, depending on some of the source material where you look at, 5 hours to make. So this is a perfect weapon for insurgency or behind enemy lines type units. Likely how many resistant forces had this weapon. Looking at you, COD 3. Over 50 countries have used this weapon in its lifetime. A couple of nations are only on the list because in terms of desperation you kind of get any weapon you can get your hands on, so that's why a couple of nations like Germany's on this list. Zapatista, the Zapatista movement had armed soldiers with Sten guns in 1994, and that's the most recent I can see other than just, usage for museums and historicalness. Over 4.5 million Stens were made during World War II, according to my research. And I've actually seen a number of these in museums throughout my life. I've been fortunate enough to see many museums in the Normandy area, along with a couple of museums in America. They are not too uncommon to find, at least with my travels in the museums I've been to. Now, I've seen them fire, that's a different story, but I'm just talking about purely seeing them. And like I said, they were easy to make and a great weapon for that, but in reality, there was a lot of complaints about its accuracy and its tendency to fail. I did mention that it was open bolt, and you can kind of see that in the gameplay, that you can see the bolt there on the right. Dirt, another material, can get into that and would cause the weapon to jam. You can see the soldier holding the rifle in a way that is the left hand is under the gun and the barrel. That is a correct way to use it. Sometimes in media and photos from World War II, you might see a soldier or someone posing with the weapon, or actually firing the weapon, holding the magazine, the thing that sticks out on the left there. That is actually the improper way of doing it, because that would also lead to a gun failure. There's a lot of things that could lead to a gun failure. Just dirt getting in, like most weapons. I love how my body goes that way in this little part there. But dirt, obviously weather, other things, grout, and also some buildup of, I believe carbon it was. So really, the Sten gun was an imperfect weapon to fill a perfect hole. And then it was a gun that can fire bullets, and it was cheap and easy to make. Surprisingly though, because I just said it was cheap and easy to make, you would think it wouldn't last long, but there's actually quite a lot of original copies of the gun around the world. I've been very fortunate in my life to see a numerous number of them, ranging from American museums here in the States, and then a couple of museums over in France in the Normandy sector. Obviously I haven't seen one being fired, but just seeing the person is really cool, and seeing all the different variants in all the museums is really cool to see. There's also there's a lot of videos and photos you can see online of the real life counterparts, and not just in our video games and movies and such. But this is the Armory series. This is a series where you can learn something about a gun. Hopefully you have today. And hopefully there'll be a lot more content coming out with this series, maybe more modern stuff, and also still finishing up all the weapons that we have currently in Battlefield 5. If there's any comments, concerns, or suggestions, let me know in the comments down below. Otherwise, I'm just going to let the gameplay run out here and just have the core game going with it normal volume instead of minimized volume right now as it is for my voice. And that's it for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Soldiers!
Werfe Granate! Ich habe Medikamente für dich.